few years ago, we bought a section right before the major international credit crunch, when the whole world went a little bit upside down. We sold a house and found a really awesome section out in Derry Flat, and it's going to be the section and home of our dreams. So we went through, had permit and everything ready to build, and by the time we got all that, the situation with banks and financing had changed dramatically, and we couldn't get funding to build. So we ended up selling the section and for a lot less than what we'd paid for it, and ended up with not a lot.
We were renting, and we still had a mortgage on a property that we didn't own. So, and we had 2 young toddlers. So we ended up renting for 8 years. It wasn't just a short period of time. And houses in Auckland getting more and more expensive, and we just started to think, will we ever own our own home again? And then Pastor Peter invited a preacher called Gary Kesey to come and speak to the church, and we listened to him, and we started to get hope again that maybe, you know, there was a chance we could get a house. And yeah, things started to change in our hearts.
We just really felt that God was our answer, and we had to stay with him. And so we kept going to church, we kept serving, we kept tithing, we kept working hard, kept praying. And I think that's what made the difference. We had to move out of the apartment we were living in. It was being reclaimed, so I had to move out. Went to a few open homes to rent, and there was just 20 or 30 people looking, and we thought, we're struggling to find a nice home just to rent. And then we saw this one, and right from the very beginning, there was no one else at the open home. Saturday morning, I remember turning up, there was no one here, just us, the real estate agent and actually the landlord. And we said, yep, we'll take it. So it's a week before we move in, and I get a phone call from the landlord. Can I pay you not to move in? He wants to sell it. We had nowhere else to go. We had to be out of the house we were in on Friday afternoon and had nowhere to go. So I said, sorry, we'll move in. But I asked, how much do you want for it? And that started the process. It was incredibly reasonable with his offer, with his price, what he was thinking. So we looked around and gave him an offer for the condition of the house and the value of properties around at the time. So he accepted it, and then we had to try and find financing. So we went through 2 mortgage brokers with just unable to help us, and then we found a 3rd one, and without him I don't think we would have got it. So we finally got the finance together, and I remember at the lawyers, and she said, you realise that this document isn't legally binding because the other trustees hadn't signed it.
And we're just like, oh my gosh, at any time during that 9 months, he could have withdrawn that sale and purchase agreement, and yeah, it would have been all over, but he didn't. He was a man of his word, which is very rare nowadays. And yeah, and obviously we had, you know, the favour of God, and it all went through.
The lawyer rang us at 8:30 in the morning to say, you own it. And it was quite a weird sensation, because we'd been fighting for 9 months to get it, and all of a sudden we've got it, and it was more like, you know, it's like, we've got it, we've got a home. God's restored so much of what we lost that it's not that addition, it's multiplication. There's been a real restoration in our finances, and the house is in such a great location. The layout is such a beautiful, simple house to live in, and it's just such a blessing.